Hi there, and thank you for tuning into our video. My name is Hope Dorman, and I'm a member of the industry marketing team here at Houzz. Today, we have a special guest who will share insights from the Q2 2020 Houzz Renovation Barometer report. Marine Sargsyan is here with us. She is a senior economist and has been with Houzz for 2 years. We're so grateful that she's here to share her analysis for our pro community. So, Marine, thank you so much for joining us.
Hope, thank you so much for having me.
So today we're going to discuss the findings of the report, and then we'll talk about the implications that this has on the industry as a whole. So Marine, first, can you tell us about the Houzz Renovation Barometer?
Of course. So earlier this month, we have released our house renovation barometer for the second quarter in 2020. This quarterly survey is sent out to remodeling and design firms registered on Houzz and typically garners over 2,000 responses. We have been tracking the indicator of our renovation barometer since Q1 2015. Construction and the architectural and design services are the two major sectors remodeling and design firms fall into. There are three indicators we track with our house barometer: the expected business activity indicator, project backlog indicator, and recent business activity indicator.
Great, thanks for that summary. Now, let's look at what our community of renovation professionals shared about their workloads and pipelines. What is the project backlog and how does it compare to the past?
Sure, Hope. The backlog indicator is our way of keeping a pulse on the project pipelines. While the project backlog indicator remains steady at 5.4 weeks nationally at the start of Q2, as reported by firms in the construction sector, the architectural and design services sector reported a week shorter average wait times from 4.6 weeks to 3.6 weeks. The overall backlog for both sectors is 1.1 weeks below year over year levels. We surely observe significant variation in the backlogs regionally, as reported by the firms in the construction sector. The West South Central Division of the US, for example, with Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, has the shortest average wait time at 3.5 weeks. It's slightly less than a month. While the Middle Atlantic Division, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, has the longest wait times at 6.4 weeks. We track backlogs for the 9 geographic divisions as defined by the US Census. Among the architectural and design firms, the variation in the backlog are not as dramatic. The West North Central Division of the US, with Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, and the Dakotas, has the shortest average wait time, 3.3 weeks, while the East North Central Division has the longest, 4 weeks, about a month. The backlog for Pacific region, where we are, is slightly shorter than a month, 3.5 weeks.
So it sounds like there's still a backlog of work, meaning some construction professionals still have a bit of a pipeline. Can you tell us more about what these numbers mean?
Yes, exactly, of course. While firms report that fewer business inquiries are coming in due to the pandemic, at the same time, there are projects that are on hold. So it's hard to tell whether they'll be canceled or if renovation and design professionals will have a rush of projects going forward. It may be that our Q3 report will show an uptick in backlogs if there is a rush to pick up projects all at once when anticipated shelter-in-place orders are lifted in the summer months. So we're yet to see.
That makes sense. Plus, in some areas, construction is considered essential, so some renovation businesses are allowed to operate, so that's another regional factor to consider. And next, let's talk about the expected business activity indicator. How does this look?
Hope, the picture here is more dramatic. For the first time since launching the House Barometer in 2015, a greater proportion of firms in our industry reported quarter over quarter decreases in their expectations than those reporting increases. The expected business indicator among the firms in the construction sector has dropped to its all-time lowest at 18. For comparison, it was 74 in Q1. To put this number into perspective, this indicator has been relatively steady among remodelers, and the largest change we have had observed since 2015 was in single digits. That said, the lowest we have seen this indicator was in 2019 Q3 at 70, which is still 20 points above the 50-point mark. This quarter, firms reported 56-point drop in their expectations for the business activity, in Q2 when you compare it to Q1. Among firms in the architectural and design services sector, it dropped to 35. This decline is driven by both components of this indicator, expectations for project inquiries, as well as expectations for new and committed projects.
Thanks for sharing those numbers and the context. Now, Marine, let's talk about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the firms in the residential renovation and design industry.
So there is an unprecedented consensus among professionals in the construction sector and architectural and design services sector around the nature of the impact of this pandemic. Over 4 in 5 firms across all renovation industries reported that COVID-19 has had impacted their businesses. That said, 61% of architects and interior designers reported that they had to cancel projects, and that share is 63 among the remodelers. Build only and design and build firms also report that pandemic has impacted project timelines, caused delays in shipment, as well as permitting and inspections.
It's definitely unfortunate to hear that companies and business owners are already feeling such impacts, but many are doing what they can to stay afloat. So I think our audience would love to know, what does the report tell us about how renovation professionals are managing their business at this time?
While all this may sound really overwhelming to us, the remodelers have shown yet again how resilient they are as an industry. Firms in the construction sector, as well as in the architectural and design services sector, have quickly pivoted to implementing solutions to alleviate some of the pains their businesses and their clients are facing. Of course, for the full transparency, our survey was fielded from March 26th through April 8th, and what we see what industry professionals implementing to manage their businesses. Pros heavily rely on remote collaboration and online tools, and some resort to closing their offices, implementing safety guidelines, etc. For example, in the architectural and design services sector, architects and interior designers report that video consultation is something that they have been implementing to talk to their clients. 48% report that remote collaboration was implemented, and online sourcing of products was among the tools implemented to manage their businesses during this pandemic among 34% of the firms. General contractors and design and build firms, for example, report that they are adopting safety guidelines to protect their employees and their clients. 1/3 are temporarily closing their offices. New employee hiring is on hold among 33% of companies, and 30% of firms remote to remote collaboration and remote communication tools.
They are indeed entrepreneurs, and it makes sense that they would want to minimize the potential impact. So it's really interesting to see the different ways that various types of renovation professionals are resilient to this unexpected event. So since we've covered our agenda topics, what is one takeaway you would like our professionals to remember from this webinar?
Sure, Hope. Professionals in the renovation and design services are definitely impacted, as is everyone globally. Yet they are able to acknowledge the challenges and implement solutions. That said, I would like to leave our listeners with this final statistics. While short-term indicators report a severe and immediate impact on the home improvement market in the wake of this pandemic, a neutral to good outlook for 2020 still prevails among 66% firms in the construction sector and 56% firms in the architectural and design services sector.
That sounds good. Well, first, thank you so much, Marine, for taking the time to present this research. I hope it gives our audience a better understanding of where we stand and what may come in the future. If you'd like to read the full report, check it out at houzz.com/research. And of course, thank you to all who tuned in. We appreciate you spending part of your day with us, virtually, of course, and we hope you'll join us for future Houzz webinars.